Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about the interesting period of time that we're moving into here at the beginning of June. I wanted to make a video about the final phase of the Jupiter-Saturn squares that we're having. We've been having these since 2024. I will link below some of the previous videos that I did about the Jupiter-Saturn squares in Pisces and Gemini. And yes, we do have the final of 3 exact Jupiter-Saturn squares happening at 1 degree Aries and 1 degree Cancer, Saturn in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer. Later this month. I'm going to put the exact dates below in the description box, but generally we're looking at like a climax of this from like the 2nd and 3rd week of June, and I think that we're feeling this coming out of May as well as probably leaving June too. This is a point of time with this transit where there's going to have to be a reassessment, you all. My key word for this Jupiter-Saturn square in Aries and Cancer is reassessment. And I also, as I've been meditating on this energy, have recognized that there will be quite a large reset event happen by the time we get into Jupiter in Cancer, as a lot of what we've gone through with Jupiter in Gemini has kind of like gotten people so off track, or has gotten such a deficit of attention going on, or such an inflammatory kind of difficult energy of overspeaking and polarization that a lot of people may have to come to terms in a very quick and immediate way with the reality of any given situation. So I wanted to actually create this video today for you all without a lot of preparation. I have an outline here with some points that I want to go over, but I mainly wanted to make this video today as a notification for you all, as a bit of a signal that I believe in the next month or so, call it like, I don't know, June 10th until about July 10th, I feel that this is a time, a very karmic time. I feel that there could be some type of global event, or this may just be more at an individual level. Some kind of event may come in your personal life, or within some kind of extended circumstance that really kind of shocks things. Okay, there can be like shock events here. There can be some type of major material change, okay, as this square of Jupiter and Saturn is happening in a cardinal sign, and not just a cardinal sign, but like 1 degree. 1 degree of a cardinal sign: Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra. These are very, very powerful energies, you all, because the cardinal energy, first of all, is the first energy, right? Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Cardinal is the first modality. This is at 1 degree. So very clearly we have something new that we're needing to strike out on. Okay, we have something that we're needing to innovate, and we have a very, very clear, resounding kind of message here that some of the old ways are not going to be the path forward. Also, it may be less likely that there is a manifestation of older events in your life. You may also find that you have to withdraw, retreat, or pull back, especially as we're hitting Jupiter in Cancer, okay? Almost like a crab going into its shell. And, you know, if you're a very wise person, you might go ahead and do that now at the end of Jupiter in Gemini, because a lot of damage can be done at this anaretic Jupiter in Gemini because it is semi-sextile to Uranus, okay? We have a lot happening on cusps right now. So if you have anything in your own chart that's like at the anaretic degree, or at 0 or 1 degrees, even like 28, okay? You're getting a lot of focus from these transits, okay? From Uranus, from Jupiter, from Saturn, from Neptune. Even Pluto is early in Aquarius still. And we have to understand, I think, what a cusp really is, okay? Hit the thumbs up button below if you'd like a video about cusps and astrology. I think that would be a wonderful video maybe to make this summer for the channel. I'll give you a little bit of information about that now. So, like, obviously a cusp is a threshold, right? A cusp is liminal, okay? And I even started talking back in 2023 about the liminal phase that we were going in, and that had to do with Pluto being on the cusp and Neptune, obviously. You know, it's not just a doorway that we're going through. It's not just a gate or a portal that we're going through. It is a threshold, okay? And I see a lot of us really reaching for choices, mindsets, ideas that worked during previous terms of adversity, And I'm seeing that these are not it. I'm seeing that things do have to be made from scratch here. I'm seeing also, not to say that you need to reinvent the wheel, but there is a need to develop new methods, okay? The Jupiter-Saturn square in Aries and Cancer also says that there may be conflict in this development process, as some of the old structures may still be entrenched, right? And you don't want to uproot things too badly. But you also have to know when there's root death here as well, or when the previous roots are not functioning. So I feel like for some people, it's a little bit of life and a little bit of death here. Okay, some of it still works, some of it does not. And you have to be very discerning. Again, the Sabian symbol keyword for the anaretic degree of Pisces is discernment. That's where Saturn just was. We still have a lingering Saturn and Pisces energy because it's going to retrograde back onto that cusp later this year. So we're not totally out of the woods. But there is a lot of coping through conflict happening with this Jupiter-Saturn square in Aries and Cancer. There's a lot of pushing against, it feels like. There's a lot of people also maybe addicted to conflict or addicted to negative thoughts, even violent thoughts. In essence, some people here will cope from their own failures by romanticizing violence against another person. That's going to be very prevalent. Also, some people will cope here at the end of Jupiter and Gemini during Gemini season by talking badly about people they don't like. Very inflammatory gossip during this time. Also, it feels difficult for people to save face here. So it's hard for people to fake it. And also people may be faking things that are kind of nonsensical. So it's going to get reset. Things cannot go on like this. If you're someone here who feels put into an unfair advantage, like either I have to be kind to this person and show them face and like be fake to this person, or I can like be honest and have a conflict, almost like a lose-lose situation. Things are going to be reset. Jupiter is going to get into Cancer, and already by July into Cancer season, some people are going to really be left with a lot of broken glass basically to pick up, or some people are going to have a very fragmented psyche as well, as they recognize like, wow, I really, spend a lot of my time with a certain like romance toward violence, or I spend a lot of time having a power trip, or I spend a lot of time thinking about, if bad things happen to other people, how I might benefit. This is like very strong right now. And to the extent that there's almost like an arrogance kind of forming around it. And I do think that this is one of the negatives of Jupiter in Gemini. Again, Jupiter transiting its debilitated sign. Jupiter being kind of like the sage or the general. Jupiter functioning in a positive way is strategic flair. It's honing and combining philosophy and action in a way that benefits individuals in the collective. In its negative, it's dogma, it's unnecessary violence, it's, being willing to give another person a bad situation so that things are better for you, okay? Or capitalizing on chaos or some type of negative dynamic, hoping to gain. So corrupted self-interest is very strong during this time. And also there's kind of like a ticking clock with it. And this was something that was coming up for me in both the 2025 year ahead forecasts and the 2025 year of the snake video. I'll try to remember to link all these videos, but you guys can always thumb down to my channel and type it into the search bar and scroll through. Something that was coming up to me really strongly was a feeling that one can't keep kicking the can down the road. There's almost like this timer counting down, and like, there's less and less time to have some kind of positive result from some of this corrupted stuff. Or, it was less and less time that a certain scheme or certain behavior could still fruit a certain type of gain. And I feel that timer might be kind of like counting down to Jupiter in Cancer. So, I'm filming this on the 6th of June. I'm not sure exactly when it's posting to YouTube, but that means it's like 3 or 4 days until we get Jupiter in Cancer. Very well, it might already be there by the time you're hearing this video. And I'm not saying that, June 9th, the day that Jupiter moves into Cancer, that all of a sudden the world's just going to be fixed and all of a sudden there's going to be like some kind of crazy like shift that just remedies all of these situations. But there's going to be something that begins to change. And I do feel, like I said, a reset event or a shockwave event, almost like a chiropractic adjustment. Also, the way that Chiron is also sextiling Jupiter and Gemini right now, it says to me that people are really showing who they are, and they are resetting some of the social dynamics, some of the power dynamics through these types of actions. So there could be consequences for quite a long period of time for some type of corrupted action here, or for too much of an overt conflict orientation, as conflict is a great distraction for people from their own pain, from their own circumstance. And do we see conflict as escapism here? Yes, with Saturn and Neptune and Aries. War, conflict, battles, strategies could be some type of escapist mechanism for people who don't want to see what has actually become of their lives. So don't be that person here. Don't be that person who chooses conflict because of their own internal discomfort, not because there's actually a situation that warrants it. Also, with this Jupiter-Saturn square, Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn in Aries, and Neptune being close by as well, obviously, and conjunct, actually. So it's not just a Jupiter-Saturn square, it's a Jupiter square Saturn and Neptune, which, yes, it gives it this kind of like escapist quality. It's kind of a rough transit, you all. It's kind of a time where it's like you kind of want to step out on a new foot, and you need to, with the 1 degree cardinal energy. But there could also be conflict around how one starts over, or, conflict around matters of new beginnings, like successions, inheritances, anything like that could be a matter of conflict here, because it's like something coming into a new hand, and maybe there's like discord around, we need to do this with that. No, we need to do this. I'm seeing quite a bit of that. Also, people conflicted about where they want to move to, okay? Like, I think I need to move here. No, here. This is where my new beginning is. And you see there's kind of like an escapist feeling there, isn't there? Where it's not really about the place that you're going. It's about getting away from the place you are. Aha. Did we just hit it, you guys? This is how you know if you're working with this energy in a positive or negative way, or if any of the movements you're making. It's positive if it's about the motion and the good results of the motion. It's negative if the motion is some type of attempt to get away or out of something that you're in. And there's merit to both sides of this, but it really needs to be combined. And we have to appeal to all sides of the motion or pathway that we're creating. If we recognize we need to get away from something, we don't want to go out of the frying pan and into the fire, okay? Sometimes people have had to do that in history, though. So people who have like escaped, for example, the Holocaust, okay, sometimes it mattered less about knowing exactly where they were going. All that mattered was like getting away, okay? And that happens when you're in a seriously violent situation. But, barring, extreme situations like that, try to also focus on the integrity of what you're moving toward, and see that as well. Do you have anything in your life that's like, I just have to get away from this, or this situation is so negative that I don't feel safe in this situation? I do feel this to be kind of a violent energy that we have here, and this is short term. I'm only really feeling this in June, and like as we get out of June, like into July and through the rest of 2025, there are a lot of powerful opportunities for getting things right, for long-running solutions, powerful resolutions, and just incredibly kind of sagely oriented, I want to say, actions. And I think it's very likely to be as a result of whatever reset event or shockwave event may happen over this next month. So things are just going to change during this time, you all. Don't be too attached to the status quo here, okay? Don't be too attached to predicting an outcome or to controlling things. It's hard here too, because the whole theme of control, or the whole theme of calculation, strategy, or predictive outcomes, I feel that this sequencing has a lot of random components. So you just can't predict for the ripple effect of certain choices completely here. And, you know, with Uranus being so late in Taurus and getting ready to go into Gemini also in July, I feel like it says that a lot of the material actions have been made, and a lot of the, for example, money has been earned, or groundwork has been laid for certain things. It's very hard to start over here, but it's contradicted. It's just a contradictory time, you all. Jupiter-Saturn square in and of itself, regardless of the sign, is contradictory, because, right, Jupiter is the kind of like the opposite to Saturn. So putting them into square is kind of like two opposing forces almost like knotted up. So it's like not even two things against each other. It's like opposition. It's like a knot almost. Like, how do you untie this stuff? And then also the late Uranus in Taurus is suggesting that things have already been done too. So there's a lot of like frivolous motions. There's a lot of like scattered kind of chaotic movements, thrashing, kind of a thrashing energy here, I would say, paired with, for some people, a need to escape something that's kind of like festered, like a something that's been in bad shape for a long time, and that, you know, festering or groundwork has already been, you know, laid for this to be a bad situation. Yet at the same time, there's kind of a conflict about like how to even start over or how to begin. So it just sounds frustrating to me. And whenever I see like a frustrating energy like this in the collective, or a kind of knotted up energy, sometimes I feel like what you have to do is you either have to like really bear down and untie all of these knots and straighten things out. That could be good here if you have the patience for that, but that would take a lot of patience. It might take a lot of time. And it depends on the value of the situation, or it depends on, you know, what the outcome of untying this would be. As there's something also coming from the 2024 cycle that dealt with like puzzle solving and dealt with anomalies. So, you know, having a knot after all of that is not a surprise. It's almost like a puzzle that was put together wrong, or maybe some type of sequence that was haphazardly drafted. So you can edit this or kind of like revise this a little bit. And I think that that is suggested. And then for other people, if the situation is not really worth it, you can cut your losses here too. Or you can generate in a kind of like an entirely new paradigm, especially in the future. So it could be like an orientating process. It's like you're orienting, or you're laying the groundwork in the future to make a grander change later. It just does not feel like this situation that a lot of people in will continue in this exact way. And I think that there is a lot of discretion and discernment needed to navigate this, like very, very much a need for understanding where things went wrong to unravel these knots. Also, we just have to be very thoughtful here about what we want to augment and what we want to reduce in our lives, right? Jupiter being the augmenting or increasing energy, and Saturn being like a contracting or reducing energy. This is like labor pains, okay? Jupiter, Saturn, it's like contractions, okay? So something is like passing here. Something could also be being birthed for some people here as well. But you have to be quite mindful during this time, as you might have more power than usual. Like, I can inhibit this and I can increase this. Make sure we're not misapplying that, okay? For example, augmenting our addictions, augmenting our negative qualities, augmenting lies or something like that. All of that very prevalent with Jupiter and Gemini. And then maybe like reducing, you know, positive traits, like eating less healthy food, or saving less money, okay? Try to put these things into the right place. And this sounds very obvious, but I just think that a lot of people are kind of operating in quite an unconscious zone. And a lot of people are kind of shackled to their inhibitions, and they're shackled to their lower brain or their urges and impulses, and also a need for catharsis as well. So this is about breaking those shackles. This is about reclaiming one's own sovereignty over time. And this is about also understanding where some real groundwork needs to be laid in the future, and about quicksilver movements toward that. So I hope this video helped you all. Thank you so much for being here. Do click the center of the screen if you would like to see weekly forecasts, sign-by-sign readings for each month. June 2025 sign-by-signs are available right in the center of your screen now if you wanted to see more about this month for your zodiac sign. And yes, do hit the subscribe button below, as there will be some excellent content coming over this summer. And I wish you all a healthy, safe, and nice transit. Much love. Bye.